So I've been in this space for almost like 25 years. I mean, when it wasn't even called MDM, I mean, we used to call it transactional CRM and all those names. And it's funny that there's this, I mean, some of the challenges we saw at that time in late 98, 99, I mean, they are still there because some of those folks are kind of just starting this journey for the first time. Some are modernizing. And again, I think it's the same answers to some of those, and I'll talk about them. But I think again, it's people just forget the basic foundational principles. I mean, the first principles of implementing a good, robust data management solution. So definitely there are common pitfalls, and I mean, you can stumble upon them as you start your MDM journey, but they can all be kind of handled because it's been there now. This whole space has been there for a long time now, and if you just really do thorough planning, you can really solve for them. But I think the first one I want to start with, and I mean, this is hundreds of implementations I've been seen or been part of. And I think the most important one is, I always feel is that the business has to drive it. I mean, you cannot have tech IT drive it. Business, absolutely, it should be business driven. Business folks should be championing this within organizations. If you don't have business involved, I mean, just forget about it. I mean, yes, you'll probably have a runway of a year or so, but then it'll be lost. You won't get funding. So get business involved. And I mean, even if you look at it from a very logical standpoint, you're managing customer data, product data, supplier data. These are all, I mean, these are lifeblood for an organization. So these should all be kind of led by business leaders. So that's one. I mean, for me, that's number one. Though you probably don't see it. You see here on the slide of the business value, but I see it's the championing from the business side. And then the next one is obviously the thorough planning. That, I mean, a lot of people, they say, hey, we have invested in a tool. Let's just jump in. And let's get something up and running in like a couple of weeks. That's all good because the tools can do that now. But you really need to do your planning on that. Hey, it's not a project. It's a long-term program, and for that you need to make sure that. What are the use cases that you're going to be addressing with it, how those use cases are going to be consumed. That's a very important part because if you don't have consumers on the other side, again, there's not going to be good, robust system put in place, and there's not going to be people waiting to see success. And then as part of the planning, obviously, because of the new modernized data stack, you really need to plan the whole integration with your warehouses, lake houses, with your AI initiatives. So I think you have to do all of that planning, including obviously data governance and data quality, et cetera. Those things have to be taken care of as well. And then again, I want to go back on the use cases. I think it's very important to identify the right use cases. We all talk about low-hanging fruits. That's all good, but I think they have to be very business-driven use cases. I keep harping about this whole business-driven, but I think wherever I have seen this to be successful is where business was kind of really using it, whether it was for a new customer onboarding, for a customer experience, for a unified marketing view. I mean, they're different, obviously, from a supply chain standpoint. That supplier 360, where the suppliers would start giving discounts because you understand their bigger picture. So all of those implementations have been very successful. And then somewhere, it was just an IT one. Those use cases, I think you need to look at them, but down the journey, you don't just start with them. So I think that's the most important part. That find the right use cases. And since we are on the use cases topic, I think one another comment that or a discussion I'm having with a lot of the MDM folks or practitioners or implementation people or even the clients itself, that you got to start having an open mind about how you're addressing these use cases in the new world. Some folks who have a lot of experience from the previous on-prem world or the old technologies, they start kind of just thinking about the use cases and solving them in a similar way as they were doing in the past. But I think with the whole modernized MDM and then the whole some of the capabilities that Koi talked about as well, I think there's a room for really addressing them in a very different ways, these same use cases, and much easier to get them kind of running and consumed by the users. So I think just have an open mind about how to solve these use cases. Just don't compare apples to apples. That hey, all of this was running on prem. I need to have this exactly on SaaS. I think that's not how we should be addressing it. We should really look at it from a different lens. And believe me, this lens is way more clear than the last whatever 10 years were from an on-prem standpoint. And then I think another important one is that you need to start using some of the data tools that you've kind of invested in. over last 5-7 years on data governance, because data governance really picked up last 5-7 years. And I think you have those tools, you have the data quality rules. So make sure that you are thinking about all of that while you're integrating MDM and kind of bringing it up, because that's going to get you that speed that you're looking for. So what Jagan was talking about. So I think if you're integrating with those tools and then making sure that you're building MDM in that big ecosystem, I think you'll probably be successful for sure. And then again, yes, you need to have a big vision, but make sure that you know what you go for that first success and celebrate that with all your business users, etc. And then again, plan your cutovers from an MDM modernization standpoint. If you already have an existing MDM, that hey, just don't do sunset of your on-prem, like hey, I'm going to do it in 6 months. You need to have a proper phased cutover so that you know both the systems are tested well and that they're giving you the business value that you expected. And then that's where you start sunsetting your old MDM. So those are the main ones. And again, just from a summary standpoint, I keep going back to, you got a business user who's championing this. I think all the other issues can be handled because the tools are very smart and no code. And what I love about this new world is that business analysts and the senior business consultants can actually deliver or implement MDM. It's not, in the past, we used to heavily depend on tech folks to do customizations or configurations, but now all the business consultants can do it because they understand the business requirements and they can configure the tool because the tool is like really business friendly. So I think no need to be worried about the technology and etc., but just worry about finding the right business use cases and being successful with that.